back, everybody, to Monica's Mayhem, where fandoms collide, theories explode, and nothing is safe for my rageful opinions. And this is another Monica's Reactions. Today, we're diving into the dark side, and I do mean dark. That's why you see me as a Sith Lord. Because today, we're going to be talking about Star Wars, Maul, Shadow Lord, the actual TV show that Disney is on Disney currently right now. And it is so far one of the best series I've ever seen next to the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars. So what's cool is they gave Darth Maul his own show. So let's talk about it. And when I mean talk about it, we're gonna really delve into it. Now I do have a trailer next to me. So I'm gonna be playing that in a bit. So all right, so let's run the trailer first. And then we'll go into it.
Our target is a syndicate leader. He is
Really?
associated with several criminal organizations. And proficient with a laser sword.
With that laser sword. Whoa, he got his Darth Vader moment.
To kill me. Their
Yeah.
betrayal demands consequence. And that consequence requires a weapon.
A weapon.
Together, we can destroy the Empire.
Really? They're gonna try to take out the Empire.
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
You never know.
We need to find him. Whatever it takes.
This is escalating out of our hands.
It is. It is.
The Empire will want answers.
The
Yeah.
Empire will lock this planet down.
Oh, that was an Inquisitor.
Where is Maul? I'm right here.
Oh, that is so cool.
Let us have our revenge.
I wonder. I'll delve into that. Wait a minute.
We're not gonna take out the whole Empire.
We are. Oh, I love that voice. So let us go. Okay, I wanna save it right there. Okay. So this is not a typical Star Wars story. Now they've actually had episodes 1 through 4 so far on Disney. And I've seen them all and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed each and every episode. And what's great about this, it is that they talk about it's more of the crime syndicates, psychological warfare, revenge arc, and more. Yeah, that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing. So we've always seen spots like we've seen the Clone Wars go into the Empire. We've seen the Star Wars rebels who have been in the Empire, and you've seen them fight the Empire and Darth Vader and all that. But here is something totally different. This is the underworld. This is the crime syndicate. This is Maul And this is like a little planet out of the way where Maul is trying to get back into like the thick of things. And it is so cool because that in itself, it is so different. It is something that makes it better than anything they've done so far. The tone is a lot darker than most Star Wars Disney, products. It feels closer like the season finale of the Clone Wars and Solo with Crimson Dawn vibes. And as we know, if you watch the movie Solo, you do see Darth Maul at the end. If you haven't seen it, sorry, but it's more grounded, less Jedi centric. Yes, you did see uh Devon, who is the female little Twi'lek. She is like a former Padawan. She is really, oh, like I said, it goes it is so well written, so well done. It's about time they started going into this. So let's go a little bit more. Let's talk about what is going on in this thing. It's, in my opinion, this isn't about saving the galaxy. This is about controlling it from the shadows. And what's really cool about that is you're seeing a whole different perspective. You're not seeing, again, you're not seeing a whole bunch of Jedi's. Yeah, you're not seeing this. This is basically criminal underworld fighting for power and Maul trying to take back over. So it is nothing but the shadows here. So let's talk about Darth Maul as a character because I love Darth Maul. I loved him in episode one. I've loved him in the Clone War series when he was did that brief thing. I enjoyed him when he was in the Star Wars Rebels when he was trying to sway Ezra Bridger. So you know, Maul, because wow, okay, this might be the best version of Maul we've gotten, in my opinion. Yes, we've seen like in by Rebels. I think by that Rebels time, it's a little bit. He's still in it. I think he's about little almost over from the Syndicate days. He's older, so I think so. The Rebels is like a little bit after his Crimson Dawn days. I'm not too sure, but I think it is. And to break it down, you know, he is not just a villain. He is very strategic. He is broken. He's obsessed. And he's still haunted by, Obi-Wan Kenobi and his former master, Dark Sidious. So he's not just angry anymore. He's calculating. He's patient. And as you've seen, he's a bit terrifying. So if you watch the videos itself, if you go to Disney and you watch the actual episodes, you could see that he is not like the aggressive, like fighter like you seen him in basically in the like episode one and in the story arc in Clone Wars where he fights Kenobi after getting his legs cut off. He's like you could tell now after losing his brother, the Bosch, he's like really stepped back and it's like I better think my shit through before continuing going forward. So that I think honestly you want to root for him. You root for him sometimes, and that was dangerous because Maul is, I think, in a fight with Vader, yes, Vader's gonna win. Unless Maul does really underhanded shit to him. Like crush his oxygen box or his, controls. Which I'm surprised no one has done except for Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Kenobi series. So but for us to root for me to root for him, for us to root for Darth Maul, that's a telling in how well the story is being made. And if we go back a bit, let's just go back a little bit. You could see, how different, how everything is here. You know, there is Devon. She's the feel like Twi'lek, and she's a former Padawan. Well, she is still a Padawan, but she was doing around the Order 66 purge. Now, this era, I'm gonna say is like right after. I'm gonna say it's about following the end, right at the end of the Clone Wars. So you basically see Darth Vader now, like Anakin becoming Vader. He's wearing the suit. They're kind of like consolidating the empire now. So everything is right for the pickings right now. And they brought back a couple of people from the Clone Wars, like Rook Tans, the female Mandalorian that was Maul's right hand woman during the siege of Mandalore. There is, so much now. If you look at the screen right there, the other alien that's with her that talks, and let's
Fight
put
as
it right there.
allies.
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
So that is, I'm assuming he's a Jedi Master, and that is Jedi Master Iko Daki. So, he is Devon's master. And guess that when Order 66 hit, they managed to escape. And that's another cool thing too, because now it opens up the door more because it Star Wars is very complicated now because now they tell you by Yoda and Obi-Wan that Luke Skywalker, he is the last of the Jedi. But you got Ahsoka, you've got Ezra, you got Kanan Bridger, you know, you've got like other people who are out there. But I guess because they're no longer Jedi, but they're still Force users, they're not considered, I guess, Jedi. So that's a thing in itself that it's very interesting. So I don't know. I kind of look at that as it's weird in a way, but I guess if you want to say trained by Obi-Wan and Yoda and getting knighted in a way, because look, they get knighted to become a Jedi Knight by Yoda. So I guess he is the last of the Jedi Council, approved because Yoda and Obi-Wan are the members of the last members of the council. Now, if you go by the video games, like I think the Force Unleashed, there is Shakti that's still alive, but in the movies and undeleted scenes, she's dead. So you're not going to see. And then there's still the Mace Windu question: is he out there? Is he not? But we're not going to go on to them. We're going to go into Maul Shadow Lord. So if you've probably seen, there was another guy. Here's Brandon Lawson. Let me see if I can pull him up. Let's see if we can get him.
We need to find him. Whatever.
Him. That's Brandon Lawson. He actually runs a police department, and it's on like a little planet. It's not like it's out of the way from the Empire. It is not, close to it. It's on the planet Janix, and he has a police force, and he's trying to control it. And he has a real droid that's contradicting him at times now. That he's called Two Boots, and he's trying to like bring the Empire once Maul and all the syndicates are going wild on the planet. So I think in that aspect, he is kind of having a hard time with it. So it is really different. I gotta say, it's really different. So the story and world building. This show goes deep into the underworld of Star Wars, really deep. So you'll see, assassination attempts. You'll see different crime syndicates like the Pikes and all. Um, it is really something that we're not used to. We hear about that, and we've seen it in the Siege of Mandalore during the last bit of the Clone Wars. but it is something else. So let's talk a little bit. Talk about the different things here. The crime syndicates, the Pikes, the other, you know, former Crimson Dawn allies. Maul wants to kill them and kill their leaders who betrayed him and bring them back under himself to create the Shadow Syndicate or the Crimson Syndicate. So, and you can see the power struggles. He knows how to set up the different crime syndicates to fight each other to weed themselves out. So that is something else. And he uses political manipulation, which is not, it's weird out of Maul. So, and that in itself is so weird because we're not used to that. You know, we're used to him fighting and killing each other. So that is in itself is wild. So, and this is basically the rise of Crimson Dawn. So he's going to bring everybody together. And he's going to create this big underworld empire. So, you know what? It feels like Star Wars meets The Godfather in space. It more is like eh, I'm making you an offer you can't review. So and and he- and I am here for it. And that's more. So let's talk about the action because they didn't hold back on that brutal lightsaber combat. Oh my god! More aggressive fighting styles. You actually see more really taking out the competition. You get like a close to like him killing someone, but it's kind of like they're teasing you. It's like you get a little bit of it, and he does it. He kills the person, but you just don't see it, but you know it happened. Cinematic. So it's almost a movie level scenes how this is really done. And I love it. Maul doesn't fight like a Jedi. He doesn't fight like the Sith. He fights like someone who wants you to suffer first. And I think he took the philosophy of Darth Sidious, his former Sith training, everything he's learned so far. He's kind of become like the tactician of it. Um, he's not the same Maul that we're so used to. Now, this show is surprisingly emotional and kind of messed up in the best way possible. It's the themes are revenge versus purpose. Maul wants revenge on Sidious and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this also gives him a purpose because he is not only just kind of looking for the revenge, he wants to build up a syndicate. He wants to build up his own forces to fight the Empire, which is crazy. And the whole theme of it is like the identity of the show, of the series so far, is identity after betrayal. It is Maul's been betrayed by Sidious twice. He saw his brother die. He's been betrayed by the other syndicates, and he has to deal with that. And also the loneliness factor. That's another thing too, which is insane. He is lonely, and you feel for that. You understand where he's coming from. He lost his brother Savage to Sidious in a fight in Mandalore. You know, his own Mother Towson and Dathomir, she was killed by Sidious, and all the Knights were killed by the droid army. So he's kind of, you know, it's just alone. And I think if you see later on in the scenes, he's reaching out to. I'm going to go back to this this Inquisitor for a moment, but let me finish what I'm saying here. So Maul isn't just building his own little empire. He's trying to prove that he still matters. Like, hey, I'm still here. I can still fight. I can still do things. So after what happened in the siege of Mandalore, after losing his brother, after being, like you could say, tossed aside by Sidious, he wants to find a purpose now. And throughout the show, or at least these last two episodes, 3 and 4, he's trying to teach the young Taven how to open herself up, not only to the dark side, but to use all her powers, all her Jedi powers. And she still has the old school mentality of, no, I want to be kind of still a Jedi. We don't, and her master, Sadaka, is trying to keep her, still with the Jedi ways. So that's, I think, kind of the hard segment of that. Um, and I think the pull for Devin is she's being pulled by her master, obviously, but now being pulled by Maul. And as we saw in that little clip, he actually saves Devin. So maybe that's going to be a thing that they both team up. That Inquisitor now that you see on the screen now, you should know that Inquisitor because he fought Ahsoka, and Ahsoka actually killed him. So this is before that episode. I'm trying to remember if it was on Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the last season. So, and this is where you see him pop up. So he's here now. So he's obviously gonna live to see Ahsoka later. But this is telling because now you're seeing the different people who were so used for the Clone Wars. He's actually gonna be there. So, you know, and you could see Devin here taking on one of the Inquisitors, and Maul saves her. So again, it's kind of very nicely pacing now. And let's go for the pros and cons. Let's look at everything that so far from episodes 1 through 4. And I am going to say that so far it has, for the pros, deep character storytelling. I love that. I think that is the best thing ever. Also, dark, mature tones. We're not seeing the stupid stuff that Kathleen Kennedy did. We're not seeing other crap that didn't make sense. This is an actual welcome to the underworld. We're just badasses. And it also expands the Star Wars universe. So you're always used to seeing the rebels. You're so used to seeing the Empire. It's Jedi and the Sith, Vader and Obi-Wan, and all that. Now there's a strong storytelling for Maul. And it opens up, like, now there's the syndicates. Yes, we've been teased with the syndicates, but now this is a lot more. So that is great. Um, I think the only cons I see with it, sometimes it's slower pace at times. It really slows it down. And but I think it's because we see a bunch of action before, and then all of a sudden it slows down. So that is I think one of the problems. And I get it, you can't have action, action, action. But sometimes to the next action is so slow to get there that you're just waiting, anticipating. So I think that's kind of the little thing that I don't know, that liking. Um, not much Jedi Sith traditional conflicts, so you're not seeing that now because it's the underworld, which is, there's Devin and Master Daka. They're the Jedi's, and maybe we'll see more Jedi Sith traditional conflicts, like later. But I think more is like Maul is neutral right now. He doesn't care for either side. So you're seeing that perspective. Casual fans might find the story too heavy. I don't think so. But I know from, like, if you're clicking on the channel and you see Star Wars, oh, Star Wars, you're gonna say, man, this is really deep. but I like it. I think it's not that. This is not a casual watch. You gotta pay attention because there's so many Easter eggs. There's so many things that you got to watch, you know, and that's one of the things that I do enjoy from watching this. So, final verdict from so far from my scene. So, is Mom Shadow Lord worth watching? Damn right. Absolutely. I love Darth Maul. You know, if you like darker Star Wars like I do, if you love Maul in the Clone Wars later episode, if you want something different from the Empire, the rebels, like Luke Skywalker training and stories like that. This show delivers. And if you're a big fan of the syndicates and a big fan of like Underworld and other forces like the police forces and little military groups that are not the Empire, this is for you. This show is for you. I love this show. So me, I'm gonna give this. Oh my god, I'm gonna put it down here. I'm gonna give it four out of five Sith holocrons. See, so I love the show. You know, me personally, I think I can't wait to see more episodes each week. It's drawing me in. So, all right, you know what, my fellow mayhem, you can say I'll call you like my mayhem knights or my mayhem warriors. What do you think of more? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What do you not like? What do you like? Put it on the comment section over on my YouTube channel. Let me know how I'm doing as well. You know, is it, are you slowly turning to the dark side like me? You know, it's funny, but, let me know what you say. Drop your thoughts in the comment section here on YouTube and hit that follow. Please don't forget to subscribe. Remember, I am on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. Stay chaotic, stay legendary. This is Monica Mayhem.